Hi, I'm Isa, and welcome to my bedroom.
And my name is Silke. I am your host of today. This is How Was It, the podcast about sex and sexualities. And let's get into bed. All right. Thank you, Isa, for having me in your bedroom.
No problem.
We recorded a episode with your partner Nick before. That's also how I know you. I don't know you at all.
Yeah, this is our first time meeting and we're already in bed together.
Yeah.
Many
so
such
fast.
cases for me.
Okay, now you're already spilling way too much about yourself. No.
I'll keep to myself.
So tell me, who are you? What are your labels? What do you identify as?
I'm Isa. I'm 20, almost 21. I am studying in Amsterdam, cultural heritage studies. But I'm also an artist, and I go by she, they pronouns because I also identify as gender non-conforming and non-binary.
Okay, so you were, how do you say it? Shaking with your hand saying non-binary?
Yeah. I'm not like super open about it. I'm not really out of the closet as non-binary to a lot of people. I'm trying to be more open about it, but because I don't really present very gender conforming most of the time, it feels a bit, I don't tell everybody.
How does presenting yourself as gender non-conforming, how would it look like? Because I feel like you're saying I don't have a gender. I feel like that's
I don't really identify with the assigned gender roles that is being a woman. It's also because I'm autistic a little bit, to be honest. I don't really fit into the classical stereotypes of what a woman is supposed to be and how a woman is supposed to feel like. So for me, that's the best explanation of how I feel in regards to my gender identity.
Interesting. So you would say they're connected?
Yes, quite.
Being autistic and...
Yeah, it is. It has been said that a lot of autistic people feel that their sense of gender identity and sexuality differ from those that are neurotypical. Their experience internally, but also externally, how they experience the world around them.
That's really funny. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I learned about it a little while ago, and then I started thinking, what makes me a woman? And what if I don't really feel like a woman, but just myself? And that's how I kind of started thinking about that and exploring that. It's just the start of a journey for me just now, so...
Right. So then you share it on a podcast.
Of course. I love being an attention whore. So
well, glad to have you here then.
Can't wait for people to call me slurs online.
No, that won't happen. I hope.
I hope not.
And so how about your sexuality?
My sexuality. Well, I identify as bisexual. Which means I like to have sex with as much people as possible of all orientations. I'm just kidding. I mean, it's kind of true, but not entirely.
Right.
I'm just open to anyone that I like, that likes me as well.
What I heard from Nick.
What did you hear from Nick? I'm quite curious.
We already heard a lot about you guys' experiences. So I would love to hear about that. But that's for later. No, what he told me was that you're into kinks.
Yes.
And so, I don't know, how did you get into that?
It kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier at like not feeling completely connected with my like traditional gender roles as a woman. That also is like strongly connected to my sexuality because I really don't identify with the view of women being submissive to their husbands and just being there for sexually pleasing men, which is something you see in a lot of, especially porn, but also just mainstream media. It's kind of the standard of what is expected of women. And I think when I became a teenager, I was like, ugh, I really don't like that. And I was kind of disgusted with boys for a while. And I thought I was a lesbian for a while because I was so grossed out with the thought of being sexually and romantically submissive to a man. And that kind of played out in me eventually discovering femdom porn. And I was like, wait, this exists? This is something I could possibly do? And then when I got my first boyfriend, which of course was also very interested in these topics, we just kind of started experimenting. And I was in a really long relationship with him for like 3 years, and we got to experience a lot of different things together and explore them. And recently, since I was single since I think December of last year, so almost a year before I met Nick, we kind of started, well, I kind of started exploring a different side of me. What is like the queer side of kink? And what does it mean for me to be kinky on my own and not with a partner? And I kind of, yeah, so I've been on a journey for I think about 4 years with experimenting and exploring with kink and BDSM in general. Should I explain what BDSM stands for? Or?
Yes, well, I actually I have so many questions. First, femdom porn. what should I imagine for that?
Well, femdom is short for female domination, which is, you can imagine what that entails. And the way I stumbled upon it was by watching anime, actually. I watched this one anime, and it was about monster girls that are like half human, half monster. And there was this girl that had a body of a spider and like the top half of a human woman. And she would like wrap men up in spider silk. And it was really, kinky. Really sexual and kinky. And I was like, this activated something in me. Like, I probably should not have read that at the age I did. It was like 13. But I think that kind of like lit a spark in me. Just, to say.
Yes. And then queer kink side.
Yes.
But maybe let's go back to that later. But first, explain BDSM.
BDSM.
Oh yeah. So it has it's a combination of different words. So BD is bondage and discipline, but DS is dominance and submission. SM is sadism and masochism.
Yes.
So that's
Yeah, bondage, discipline,
dominance, submission, sadism, masochism. That's
Do you want to know what those terms mean?
Does it apply to you?
Yeah, all of them apply in a certain aspect, more or less.
Then go ahead.
Okay, so bondage is when you physically restrain someone with the intent of sexual arousal or gratification, usually. Can also be done for artistic or emotional purposes, but it is usually done for sexual gratification of one of or both of the people that are engaging in it, or more, depends.
Yeah.
Then you have discipline. Well, discipline is something that is really popular for a lot of people. It's just rules. People love following rules, giving orders. I think it's something that's very ingrained in us as humans because of the way our society is formed. And for some people that grow up in really strict places, it can be nice to let go and maybe give other people orders, or some people that need structure in their lives really enjoy following orders in their private bedroom life. I think it's actually in all humans to a certain extent. It's like instinct to want to follow and to lead.
Definitely.
But that can be kinky or just normal, I think. Then you have sadomasochism, which is a bit more convoluted to explain. Sadism is when you take sexual pleasure and gratification out of inflicting pain onto others, which can be both physical and emotional or sexual. And the masochism is the opposite. So you enjoy receiving pain. So that can be someone smacking your ass during sex, or someone calling you names, or someone just being mean to you, maybe even kicking you in the balls or something. It's a common trope, actually.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So that's the basics, I think, if you know nothing about BDSM, but it's really wide, and it's changed a lot through the years of how we view it, and some things have become more normal and some things are still not as accepted.
Yeah. And so you started experimenting when you had a boyfriend, but like, did you at some point like look up like what are kinks and like what can I experiment, or did you just feel like you wanted to do something and then you realize like, oh, this is a kink, or you know, like how do you experiment?
Yeah.
How do you know what all the options are?
Yeah. So it's well, like I said earlier, I stumbled upon porn, and then when I grew a bit older, I think it was around 16, 17 when I first like actually started experimenting with it. I of course was a lot more knowledgeable, because when you go on the internet, there's like no way of avoiding porn, to be honest. And also like extremer stuff like BDSM, you're gonna come across it eventually. So I just looked into a bit. What I knew what bondage was, I knew what BDSM was to an extent, and I started off pretty tame. I think me and my first boyfriend, we bought like a coil of rope, and we started following shibari tutorials, which is the Japanese word for rope bondage. Sorry. We just started following online tutorials on how to tie each other up, and it was really fun. And then eventually we started looking up more stuff, like how can you safely play a BDSM scene? What are some starter materials, like a ball gag? Do you know what a ball gag is?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you have whips, which is surprisingly expensive. Floggers, which are like tiny whips. You also have, like, of course, you have those fuzzy restraints. What are they called? Handcuffs. Fuzzy handcuffs. I had the non-fuzzy kind, would really cut into your wrist. They kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But eventually they got replaced with leather ones. And we also had some chain links. Just a bunch of stuff. And like seeing what you can do with it and seeing what the other person is into. It's really fun and safe way to explore with your partner, especially if you trust each other.
Yeah.
And you look into it, I think.
Yeah. So you would just go to a store and be like, oh, what should we try now? Or
well, no, we would like talk about it a lot and see like, is this something you're interested in trying? Is this something you're excited about? Is this something you're aroused by?
Yeah.
And then we would talk about it a lot and then save up for a new toy or stuff, and then we would purchase it and try to see what all the possibilities with that were, because sex toys are fucking expensive.
So annoying.
Yeah, it really is. And that's kind of the way that I got into it. And then eventually when I was a bit older, we also started like joining communities, BDSM communities.
Okay.
Which I'll get into later if you want to know more about it.
Let's get into it now.
Okay. Okay. So we have this website called FetLife, which is basically like Facebook for people that live the kinky lifestyle or just super interested in fetishes and kink and everything, and they want to talk to other people about it.
Yeah, so like FetLife, the fat is like...
Fet stands for fetish.
Yes.
Yeah, fetish life. And you need to like verify your age with a picture of your ID, I think, if I remember when I signed up.
I don't remember that, but it might definitely be possible.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't have an account anymore because I don't really go to meetups anymore. But that's how I remember it. And you can be anonymous, but you can also not be anonymous. And it's really handy if you want to like find information, events, talk to other people about it, find like-minded people. You can also post pictures. It's like just, it's literally Facebook, but for kinky people.
And then old men slide in your DMs and
I have so many stories of this happening. Like, I don't have a picture on standby, but I used to take screenshots of all the weird DMs I got, and I would send them in this friend group to like, oh my god, look what this guy sent me. It's like disgusting.
Yeah, because it's a little like it's an anonymous Facebook, and so people, and it's about kinks, so people really feel no shame to send you the weirdest texts.
Yeah, it's really terrible. Yeah. I mean, one time I think I had on my profile that please don't interact with my account if you're like above this age range. Especially not if you're like racist or something. And somebody slid in my DMs and he wrote like a paragraph saying like, ugh, you're terrible, you're ageist. Basically calling me stupid and young and naive. And then I wrote him a paragraph back saying that he should like eat his own feces. And then I blocked him. Not my proudest moment, but we all need to get it off our chest sometimes, right? Yes. Yeah. No, but it's really handy for finding like-minded people and communities near you, because it also has like, you can, I think, set events and groups to certain locations. Yeah. So you can see if there's some people are going to drink coffee and talk about putting people on collars near you and stuff like that. It's like all over like even a small country like the Netherlands has a lot of meetups, like several a week actually. Yeah. Some of them are not like attended by as many people because there's a bunch that are just in people's basements, which I would never go to, by the way. It's definitely not recommended. But there's also big events that are like in venues that are for people that actually want to go outside to a venue and participate in kink activities with other people around, which is really popular. I've also have some experience with that.
Yeah, I feel like I've been on FetLife just to check it out. And I've seen those events and they actually sound really interesting, but I felt like probably a lot of the same people were going there, and so I don't know, I never felt like brave enough to
you didn't feel welcome. Or
yeah, maybe, but I mean, I've never been, so I really couldn't say anything about it, but that's just the feeling that I had. But
yeah, I understand. It can be like quite exclusive in a way that if you're not like knowledgeable about these things, if you're just a newbie, it can like scare you off. And there's also some people that kind of gatekeep events like that, like, oh, if you don't know anything about the community, you shouldn't come, and you need to bring your partner, and you're not welcome if you do X, Y, Z. Yeah. But I personally think there's a like great amount of events. Well, not great amount, but there's a decent amount of events that are really beginner friendly. And if you're interested, you should definitely like go see them. Usually they're not super expensive. They're between 5 to 15 euros. And if it's just a meetup, you can just go there and see what's up, right?
Yeah. So would you go there with your former boyfriend then?
Yeah, I went there with my former partner, but also friends, because I made like quite a bit of friends at these events and also on FetLife that I chatted with, and we would meet up and talk about kink, but also other stuff, and then engage in some stuff at each other's places, if you know what I mean.
I do not know what you mean.
Oh, well, you know. Have you ever heard of a threesome before? Oh. Yeah, stuff like that. But also small play parties with just in someone's house with like 5-6 people. It would just be like an evening with friends, but your friends are naked and touching each other. Yeah, something like that.
And so those were friends that you would meet on FetLife, or like friends that you...
I would meet them on FetLife or events.
Yeah.
Also sometimes public Discord servers, but that doesn't happen as much anymore because I think there are some restrictions on adult content in Discord servers now. But yeah, we would chat for a while, then we would meet up in a public place, just talk and see if we go on well together, and then maybe we would go to each other's house, do some stuff.
All right, nice. Yeah, so we were talking about like queer BDSM before.
Yeah, queer and kink.
Queer and kink. That's
something I've been exploring a bit more lately, because I was in I wouldn't say I was in a heteronormative relationship before, but I would say that it would seem that way to other people, probably. And I myself, as a bisexual queer person, really wanted to know what the BDSM community and the queer community, where they overlap. Because what you see a lot on FetLife and also these events, it's dominated by straight people. Yeah, it's like the most common group you see is male dominant, female submissive. And of course, it's still deviating from the norm because they're open about it and they're engaging in quite a bit more extreme variations of these gender roles. But it still felt very heteronormative to me while I was there. And it can be quite daunting for queer people, and especially young queer people, to engage in these communities when they're so dominated by like heterosexual people.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to experience some more queer-friendly events. So I went to a few of them this year. And it has been it's been great. I feel super accepted and super free to be myself. And it's just nice. I've met some really nice people there as well. And it's just great.
So is that like you just find those queer events also just or
the thing is, they're not really on FetLife a lot, because in my experience, a lot of these more queer friendly events are rather in like queer, like outgoing culture. How do you say that?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know the English word for it.
What's it in?
The queer clubbing culture
yeah.
intersects like really well with the kink community. A lot of queer clubs have kink nights, or even several kink nights. There's this really famous club in Amsterdam called Club Church.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of different kink nights. Some of them are only for men, some of them are only for women, some of them are mixed, and they have these themed nights, like leather-only nights, completely naked, where you can sign up.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah, it's really fun. I can really recommend it. I've never been to Club Church myself, because they only have some nights where you're welcome as a woman, because it's mostly male-centric.
Okay.
But queer clubbing, I've been to quite a few. I've been to Radion. Spielraum is a really big one. Big fan. I really want to go to Pax Romana. I've heard some good stuff about it from some people.
Okay.
But those are mostly techno events, which is really funny, actually, because when it comes to like heterosexual kink communities, like it doesn't really overlap with like the techno subculture. It's mostly like the queer part of the techno subculture that has so much overlap.
That's so
kink.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many ravers wearing like harnesses. That's where that comes from.
Yeah. So is that because if queer people want to find the kink communities, they get into techno because that's where they already are, you know? Or is that because it's so specific?
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure why. I think it might be because queer clubs are like the only place that queer people really meet and get together on such an intimate level. Because, well, kink communities have existed for a long time, but not so much for the queer community, because you need to get like the legality of it. Like queer clubs haven't been open for that long across the country. Of course, in Amsterdam they have, but it was also taboo for a really long time. So it's quite crazy that in some places it's more taboo to be gay than it is to want to smack your wife on the ass with a paddle.
Tell me, what is something, a kink that I should try out?
You should try out CBT.
What is it?
It stands for cock and ball torture.
Oh,
Have you heard of it?
no.
It's basically just kicking a guy in the balls, and he really enjoys it. It's great. It's great.
I'll have to find someone that.
Yeah,
would
they're quite,
enjoy
like,
it.
I've come across at least 3 people that really like it.
Nice.
And I have, like, my body count is 10. So that's,
Oh.
I don't know math, but that's like almost 1 in 3 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, so that's something extreme if you want to try it out.
Yeah, I'll try it out with my next date.
Yeah. And
With
if you're not
consent.
into men, I guess you can, like, pinch someone's nipples really hard, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people are into that.
Good. And what is your current fantasy?
My current fantasy. Oh, I wouldn't say I really have a current fantasy, to be honest.
Really? What something that you haven't tried out yet?
That I
you
haven't
would
tried
like
out
to?
yet. Oh, something I've really wanted to do for a long time is, like, use those sexy candles. I really want to try
Right.
wax play, they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested. Yeah, they have ones that melt into massage oil,
Yeah.
but I think I want the normal ones that, like, leave drips on you. I think those are cool. I would, of course, probably put it on someone else, but for me personally, I always try something I want to do on someone else on myself first. So I'm going to drip candle wax on myself, probably. But yeah, I haven't been able to acquire one yet or find someone that wants to do that. So
Yeah. Shouldn't be too difficult. I feel like that's kind of...
Yeah. Never use normal candles. You will get, like, 3rd-degree burns. Just a disclaimer.
Okay, good. I do always put my finger in, like,
I
the
also
wax
do
of-
that.
So
But that's different.
Okay.
That's not sexy.
No.
I mean, unless it is for you, but for me, it's just because I'm bored and autistic.
So would you say you are dominant or submissive or switch, or what would you say you are?
I definitely lean more towards the dominant part of the spectrum. It's something I have just a lot more experience with. It's something I enjoy a lot. But I think it really differs from encounter to encounter and also to person, like depending on the partner or partners I'm with.
Yeah.
And also the situation and the position of the moon on that day.
Really?
No, yeah, I'm quite a switch. I'm just good at being dominant.
Yeah, I'm actually just thinking about it. You send me your BDSM test.
Yeah. Do you have any questions about it? Do you want to?
I was just gonna check because
Yeah.
it also has that on there.
Okay.
And it says you're more dominant than you're a switch, but they're very close together.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have questions? Well, I feel like they're...
Do you know what everything on there means?
Well, yeah, I've done this test as well. So I remember looking at all of these things and being like, "What the fuck? What are these things?"
Did you Google all of them, or did you just?
I always had people that I was with that would
Mm.
explain it to me. I would say I'm not myself. I'm not very into kink, but I just like same with Fat
Get a
Life.
little-
Like I'm on there, but like
It's fine
I'm
to just
touching
be
it.
a little curious. It doesn't have to
Yes.
be for everyone, but
Yeah.
for me, it's just a hobby. It's just something I really enjoy. But it's like jam. If you really like jam, it's nice on bread. But
Yeah.
if you don't need it to, like, survive.
You are so fucking similar to Nick. He gave the same example, but then with peanut butter.
Wow, we are like peanut butter and jelly, right? I had no idea. What the hell? Okay, that's interesting.
That's cute. Yeah, so let's talk about your main one then.
Yes.
Of the, BDSM, 96% voyeur.
Yeah. Do you know what a voyeur is?
I do, but maybe explain it.
It means that it's someone that likes to watch. And with watch, I mean watch other people fuck. Which I have done quite a bit. Like, not completely intentionally, But I've recently, like especially recently, found out I think it's kind of hot. I think it's really hot actually. Especially if you go to like a play party, as they say, like a BDSM event, and people are fucking or just doing something else in a room. And usually the doors are open or there's a little window and you can peek in. It's allowed. It's one of the ground rules. And it's just really fun to see how other people engage with BDSM and with their partners. And I think it's not only exciting sexually, I think it's also just really endearing, because sometimes you see that these people, they have this really intimate moment and connection, and to be able to see that from an outsider's perspective, I think it's really beautiful and also really special and nice. It's the same with when you watch a shibari performance. The intimacy and the trust between the person that's getting tied up and the rigger, as they call it, it's unmatched. I think it's beautiful. And I think I really enjoy seeing it.
I think I also really like that.
It's like viewing art. It's
I also love that about having sex with a couple. It's because they already love each other so much, and you're just
except if they don't.
Except if they don't. But I love couples that love
a
each other.
good threesome is great. A bad threesome is hell. It really is.
Okay, maybe we'll get. Do you have experience with that? I do want to know.
I've had a couple. Most of them were nice, but it's always awkward in the beginning, and you have to really like lay a lot of groundwork so nobody feels either left out or uncomfortable. And especially, it's not something you can just do on a whim, on a hookup. No. I think that's like impossible. It would be way too awkward and unsafe, especially if you're going to do kinky stuff.
Yeah,
you need to know each other's limits and interests very well.
Yeah. So what was a hell experience that you had? What made it hell? Very shortly.
Hell. Well, I really didn't have a hell experience. It was just one experience I had. I was really, really nervous, and I just. It was really cold in the house that we were in, and I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But, oh wait, I do have a hell experience. One time, I was having a threesome with my partner at the time, and another person we had invited, and we had been with them a few times. And the radio was on, because my partner used to always put on the digital radio. And there was this ambient music playing for a while. It was really nice and calming. And after a while, a field recording started playing. Do you know what a field recording is?
No.
It's like an ambient type of music that records the sound of a place. So it's like a seascape or a cityscape, or the sound of a... well, it was a pasture. And we could hear sheep bleating in the background while we were like... in each other. And it was such a buzzkill. It was so bad, but we all laughed about it.
It's funny though.
Yeah, it's really funny, but it was also really off-putting in that moment. I'll never forget it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So last episode we talked with Nick about their last time that they had sex, which was with you. He actually told me about multiple last weekend.
Yeah, we had quite a weekend.
So tell me, how was it, and how would you rate it?
Well, it was really nice last weekend. Should I speak on the last time specifically, or just the last weekend? Because it was a lot of times in a really short time period.
Let's go into detail about the last one.
On the last time, God, I'm still tired from it. Like my muscles are so sore, especially my hips. I could barely like stand up straight. I was like walking around like an old lady afterwards.
Yeah,
and I'm still kind of sore. But that's because we did it like 5-6 times in 28 hours. And I'm not like saying like 15 minutes 6 times. I'm like saying an hour and a half 6 times.
Yeah,
So
that's tough.
yeah. We
It's a proper workout.
I did my cardio, that's for sure. No, we went to a dance party, and we also you know what happens at like club nights. You use some stuff sometimes, and that can be a bit enhancing to the arousal. So when we got home, it was just, I think we kind of went caveman mode.
Tell me, what do you mean with that?
What do I have to describe it in detail? Like, we could just not stop having sex, and I don't know. I was just screaming and moaning. The bed was shaking. I feel bad for Nick's poor roommates. They one time, one of Nick's roommates thought I was practicing singing. I was not practicing singing. I can tell you that much.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I probably did lose my voice afterwards.
After singing.
Yeah, after singing.
Yeah.
Need to be careful with those vocal cords.
Okay, so how would you say the last time you had sex was? How would you rate it? Scale from 1 to 10?
Probably like 9 or 8 out of 10.
All right.
I think I would lean more towards 8 for the last time because I'm quite sore. But I mean, I liked it. I still kind of like it. So
What made it good?
it was really intimate.
Mm.
And well, let's just say I got to see a side of Nick that I don't see too often. And I think it's really new to them as well. And we got to explore a little bit more of their submissive side. And it was really special and really fun. And I covered them in hickeys. So that's great. It's always
That's
great.
very visual on both of you.
Yeah. I only have one.
Yeah.
I guess, well, let's just say my neck was the only place they weren't sucking hard. Sorry, you can cut that out if you want.
We're not gonna cut that out. All right. So now I'm gonna do some rapid fire questions. So I'm just gonna fire away some questions.
Yeah.
You can just answer quickly. If you want to say more about something, just go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, is there some gaydar for like people with kinks? Like, can you tell if someone is kinky or not? Or like BDSM, maybe more specifically.
Sometimes, yeah. I think if they wear like a certain style of clothing, like kink wear is really popular right now, so it's getting harder to differentiate. But a while ago, if someone wore like a harness or like a big choker, that would be a giveaway for some people. But not for everyone, because it's like normal now.
How often do you watch porn?
Never.
Never.
No.
Interesting.
I only read hentai. But it's true.
So why you're not watching it? You're not interested?
I just get uncomfortable because it's acted. I can't really immerse myself in it.
Sure. Yeah. Have you had an orgy?
Does a sex party count? I've had sex with 3 people at the same time. Does that? No, it's like
that's a
quartet.
foursome.
Yeah, foursome.
Yeah.
Almost.
My personal definition of an orgy is 7 people.
No.
Would you join mine?
Maybe if you ask nicely.
Is this not nicely?
Can I bring a friend?
Sure.
Thanks.
Have you ever been double penetrated?
I wish. I fucking wish.
There's your fantasy.
Wait. No, I haven't. I've been Tower Bridge though.
Yeah, that's
almost.
That is double. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you say double penetration, it's like 2 holes, right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's still great. Love that. Good image. Do you have a safe word?
Yeah. I used to.
What is it?
Red. With my previous partner, I used the stop sign system, which is green is everything's fine, we can continue. Orange is let's pause, scene, and talk. And red was let's stop completely, I need emotional support. And we just used it both.
Nice.
And if you can't speak because you have a ball gag in, that would be like a signal of like grabbing someone's hands and putting your nails in them or squeezing 3 times or something like that. It's really great.
Yeah, nice. All right. So thank you very much for having me in your bed.
No problem.
It was great to get to know you.
It was a
We went
pleasure.
straight into all the details. And yeah, this was it. Thank you. Let's get out of bed.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so tired.
Thank you for listening and watching. This was How Was It? I am your host, Silke. This is Isa. And I would love to join you at one of those crazy parties you've been talking about.
You'd be super welcome.
Thank you very much. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. It's how_was_it_podcast. Slide in our DMs. And maybe we'll invite you to one of the playrooms. Bye.